All right, that's the way to kick off a show right there.
What's up? It's your boy Common J Will. We back with another edition of the Weed Bar. But I know it look different to you because we not at the Weed Bar. We all the way in California. But anywhere we go, turns into the Weed Bar. So we in California. We got a nice ass house that we chilling in. So we decided to do the show right here. I got my dog in the building as always.
Jackpot the Juice, I'm in the building.
And look, I know you used to us having rappers and entertainers and stuff on the show. But at the end of the day, sometimes we just get blessed to have somebody that's really a staple in the weed community. Today, we got my man, straight from California, the one and only Virgil Grant in the building. What's going on, boss?
How you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? Good to have you here, man.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Man.
What's going on, yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, I know a lot of people are probably gonna wonder, like, why is this guy on the show? What's his importance to the weed community, or what made the Weed Bar tap in for somebody that's not a usual guest that they have? So, in so many words, I would kind of like you to introduce yourself to our fans and to our followers and let them know exactly who you are, because I feel like from my research, you kind of are the godfather of weed right now.
Legend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me here on the Weed Bar. It's an honor and a pleasure, always. My name is Virgil Grant. I've owned one of the first shops in the history of medical marijuana in LA. I work closely with City Council and the state of California to craft policy, mainly in the city of LA. One of the most things that I'm noted for is Measure M in the city of Los Angeles. That's our licensing mechanism, and social equity.
Okay.
And social equity was a program created to represent people of color who have been in the cannabis industry before it was an industry, that may have gotten a non-violent cannabis felony. They wouldn't have been able to be owners and operators, let alone dump trash in a dispensary. So me coming in, I wanted to make sure that changed. So I created social equity, and now people of color can operate in the cannabis industry regardless of your cannabis felony.
Oh, okay.
Not only that, but your cannabis felony now qualifies you to be first in line to get licensed under social equity.
Because you were, I guess now that it's legal, you were wrongly accused for something that ended up being legal?
Absolutely. But not only me, but a whole host of people here in California and many other states across the country that have been negatively impacted by the failed war on drugs.
Oh, so this is something that actually happened to you personally, and then it caused you, is that what caused you to be such a strong advocate on what you are, because of the injustice happened to you personally?
Absolutely. That played a huge role in it. I did 6 years in federal prison for owning and operating the same very stores that I'm licensed in by the city and the state presently. So, yeah, go figure.
So you was working with the city council like in the beginning?
Yes, prior to that, I've always been an advocate and pushing legislation in the city of Los Angeles. I was crafting policy even prior to the federal government coming in, totally disrespecting and trampling over the state rights. And I was one of the ones they sent to federal prison for 6 years for that.
So you had basically you had your same dispensaries that you have now opened.
Yes.
And the reason for them shutting them down was
because it's a Schedule I drug in the eyes of the federal government. And back then, now keep in mind, this was under the Bush administration. So under the Bush administration, he was full on attack on medical marijuana here in the city in the state of California.
Right.
So that was under that regime was when I was indicted. So you couldn't use medical marijuana as a defense in federal court. You couldn't say medicine, patients, or anything like that. So basically, when you were brought in court, you were brought in court as a common drug dealer.
So was the 6 years something they gave you, or was that like a plea or something?
Well, the 6 years was kind of like a plea. They arrested my wife. They arrested my manager. And so when they arrested my wife, and I have 5 children, I didn't want both of us having to spend time in federal prison. So I just went on and signed a plea deal with the federal government. And then
So your wife can be released.
yeah, so she could be released. So it never shows up on her record as she ever being arrested or anything. That's the deal I made because I was
That's
going
some
to
real
fight
G
it.
shit though, real shit.
Yeah.
Because you could have fought it and probably beat it.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
I was going to fight it. I wasn't even thinking about taking a deal. When they came to me with a deal, and my attorney, showed me a deal, I told him, man, we're not even looking at a deal.
Yeah.
Tell them they can take that back and let's go.
So when you were arrested, was marijuana legal in the state?
For medical purposes, it was legal in California. I got indicted in 08, 09. And marijuana was legalized for medical purposes in 1996.
So what was their grounds on shutting you down? That your product wasn't medical marijuana, or
No,
You were licensed then.
I was licensed in, and yes, it was medical marijuana. The fact that the federal government at that time could step in at any time and say that we don't acknowledge this as a medicine or for medicinal purpose, this is a Schedule I drug, and they can take you to jail.
Is it because you had too much?
I would say I owned 6 locations back then. And I was moving strong in the industry. And I was writing policy and working with city council. I was working legislation. And I'm a black man from Compton. So, you go
That's
figure
dope.
it. You do the math.
that's dope. So how did you get to the point where, because this is dope to me, because I know, you started from the small beginnings of how anybody starts selling weed, you know what I'm saying? Go from nickels to dimes.
Absolutely.
So I know you started from there. So to get from there to basically Congress, you know what I'm saying, or you know what I'm saying, where you are as far as making laws and things of that sort, how did you get yourself in that arena from being a street drug dealer to going to the next level and being looked at as a corporate businessman, and not only that, but looking at somebody that could represent, the city in those arenas like